Stadiums, or stadia, have become a regular theme of this channel ever since I revealed that I have an interest in them on my first stadium-related video, which I believe was the video in which I took a look at the largest stadium in each of the world's 7 continents. Since then, I've done videos looking at the 7 stadiums, or 14 stadiums I guess, that are closest together, and 7 fascinating abandoned football stadiums. Feel free to check out those videos and many more if you haven't already, but it occurred to me that in my many videos looking back over the last decade in football, there was nothing stadium related, so I'm putting that right today, with a look at some of the best football stadiums built since 2010. The stadiums have to have been constructed primarily to host association football, so there'll be no Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, which I do think is a pretty stunning venue, and the inclusions are based solely on the stadiums I like best. These aren't the 7 biggest or most expensive, just 7 I find interesting or particularly like the look of. The likes of Russia, France and Brazil have all hosted major tournaments since 2010, meaning they have more candidates than most, but to make things interesting, I've limited the entrance to just 1 stadium per country. Here are my views on the 7 best stadiums built since 2010. Juventus Stadium. We start with perhaps the least architecturally interesting and visually stunning stadium in this 7, but still one of the most significant, and subsequently worthy of 7th place. The Juventus Stadium, now officially the Allianz Stadium due to sponsorship reasons, but simply referred to as the stadium by Juventus fans, is surprisingly small in many respects. Juventus are the most successful and by far the best supported club in Italy, and one of the best supported in the world, yet the Juventus Stadium has a maximum capacity of just 41,507. Juve weren't concerned with having the biggest stadium in Italy though, so long as it was the best. Crowds in Serie A have been dwindling since the league's heyday in the 1990s, with a number of crumbling concrete structures sitting 2/3 empty every weekend. Juventus built a more compact, soulful ground which they hope to fill every week. In that respect, they've done a pretty good job. The Allianz Stadium is a much more hospitable place to watch football than Juve's old ground, the Stadio delle Alpi. It's just a shame they didn't decide to build a 50 or 60,000 seater ground and drop their extortionate ticket prices to fill it. Construction began on the Juventus Stadium in 2009, but the ground didn't open until 2011. Cagliari are the only current Serie A side to have moved stadiums since, and that was only into the temporary Sardinia Arena, which does look exceptionally temporary. Having said that, the likes of AC Milan, Inter Milan, Roma, Fiorentina, Hellas Verona, Brescia, Empoli and Cagliari all have plans or proposals to move into new stadiums in the near to medium term future, and as the first new 40,000 plus capacity Serie A stadium since Juventus' own Stadio delle Alpi was built in 1990, the Juventus Stadium has to feature here. Shenzhen Universiade Sports Centre. Built at roughly twice the cost of the Juventus Stadium, whilst the Allianz Stadium plays host to one of the biggest football clubs on earth, the Shenzhen Universiade Sports Centre hosts 2 football clubs, neither of whom play in the top flight of Chinese football. The primary occupants, Shenzhen FC, did play in the Chinese Super League last season, but they were relegated and will spend next season in the Chinese League 1. Shenzhen Fengping are the stadium's other occupants, who splintered from Shenzhen FC in 2012 and now play in China's 3rd tier. Shenzhen is a city roughly the same size as London, so it should come as little surprise that there are a few large stadiums there. Shenzhen Universiade Sports Centre opened in 2011, with the stadium having a capacity of 60,334, the next door arena capable of holding 20,000, and the nearby aquatic centre having a capacity of 3,000. Built at a cost of 3.5 billion RMB, which is roughly equivalent to £390 million, the sports centre's first major event was the 2011 Summer Universiade. It can be difficult to do anything new with stadiums now, but I like the striking sharp-edged, I'm not even sure what they are, dodecahedrons perhaps, replicated on both the stadium and the arena, and the body of water and bridge surrounding the main stadium. Sadly, there aren't a plethora of images of the ground, but from what I've seen, I think it's worthy of 6th place. Estadio Campeón del Siglo. You could not accuse this 7 of lacking geographical diversity, and following 1 entry each from Europe and Asia, we head to South America in 5th place. Uruguay is a small but football-obsessed nation that has perennially overachieved on the international stage. The 5 biggest stadiums in the Uruguayan Primera Division this season have a combined capacity of 180,000, in a country which is smaller than the Republic of Ireland. For context, the 5 largest venues in the League of Ireland this season have a combined capacity of just 35,000. That's less than the stadium which takes 5th place in this 7 on its own, which is the Estadio Campeón del Siglo. The home of Uruguayan giants Peñarol since March 2016, the Campeón del Siglo is the second largest stadium in Uruguay, trailing only the nation's national stadium, the Centenario. A simple but beautiful design, the Del Siglo dispels the myth that all modern football stadiums have to be soulless, bowl-shaped designs. Built at a bargain cost of just $40 million, that is $1 million for every 1,000 seats, since the stadium has a 40,000 capacity. The Estadio Campeón del Siglo is almost like a new old stadium, and I love it, so it comes in 5th. Allianz Riviera. One of only a few stadiums built since 2010 that I've actually had the privilege of going to, I've been to the Allianz Riviera twice since it opened in 2013. The Allianz Riviera, which is referred to as the Stade de Nice for FIFA and UEFA competitions due to sponsorship regulations, was originally scheduled to open in 2007. Nice were keen to move out of their dilapidated city centre home, the Stade de Ré, but plans for the new stadium were shelved in the mid-2000s due to fears over escalating costs. They were dusted off in 2011 though, as part of France's successful bid to host Euro 2016, and the stadium opened in 2013 with a capacity in excess of 36,000. It isn't a monumental stadium, but it's more than big enough for Nice, and it's a fantastic place to watch football. The way the ground is laid out, you get a full panoramic view of the pitch from the concourse, which looks fantastic, and every seat is spacious and provides an excellent view of the game. The Allianz Riviera didn't come cheap, built at a cost of €250 million, but for that price, they did at least build an excellent medium-sized ground. The stadium hosted 4 games at Euro 2016, 6 games at the 2019 Women's World Cup, and is of course the home ground of OGC Nice. The first time I went to the Allianz Riviera in 2014, I got caught in a thunderstorm for the duration of the 2-hour walk back from the ground, and almost died trying to cross the motorway. The second time I went in 2017 for an Italy vs France Legends game, I was caught getting on a train without a ticket, and the Allianz Riviera was also the site of England's humiliating Euro 2016 defeat to Iceland. In spite of all those personal grievances, it's an excellent stadium, and takes 4th place. Nizhny Novgorod Stadium. Of the 12 stadiums used at the 2018 World Cup in Russia, 9 were completely new venues, whilst 3 were renovated for the finals. That means there were plenty of Russian candidates for the 7, from the Krastovsky Stadium to the Rostov Arena, but there's no doubt in my mind that the Nizhny Novgorod Stadium was the pick of the bunch. The Nizhny Novgorod Stadium was the scene of happier memories for England fans than the Allianz Arena, since it is where the Three Lions beat Panama 6-1 at the World Cup. That was one of 6 World Cup games played at the ground, which was built for the finals at a total cost of almost 18 billion rubles, or £220 million. The Nizhny Novgorod Stadium was actually one of the smaller 2018 World Cup venues, although you wouldn't think it from the outside. The stadium has an enormous metalwork roof and facade, including grand columns, weighing over 11,000 tonnes in total. The stadium looks as though it should hold at least 80,000 people, but the actual capacity is just over 43,000. Both on the outside and on the inside, the Nizhny Novgorod Stadium is mightily impressive, particularly when lit up in white and blue on the evening. FC Nizhny Novgorod were founded in 2015 to move into the stadium long term, but currently competing in the second tier of Russian football, they only fill 1/6 of the stadium's capacity most weeks, with an average attendance of 7,000. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. As I said in the introduction, don't try to look for too much rhyme or reason with this 7, these are just the stadiums that I find the most interesting aesthetically, or the best venues for hosting football, and it's for the latter of those 2 reasons that the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium takes 2nd place. Whilst I don't think the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is ugly, I don't find it particularly beautiful, but the magic of this stadium is on the inside. So many clubs struggle to replicate the atmosphere of their old grounds in more hollowed out new arenas, but Tottenham seem to have gone to great lengths to ensure that wouldn't be the case at their new home. Built on the site of Tottenham's old ground White Hart Lane, the stadium sort of serves as a lesson to West Ham on how to build and transition successfully into a new purpose-built football stadium. The stadium was built as part of the Northumberland Development Project, a 20-year regeneration plan for Tottenham, and is expected to come in at over £1 billion in total. Inside, the stadium looks fantastic, with the steeper tiering of seats providing a better atmosphere than most modern stadiums. It is the 2nd largest stadium in London and the 3rd largest in England, trailing only Wembley Stadium and Old Trafford, with a capacity of 62,303. The ground looks impressive when you're inside it, and really impressive on a night from outside when it's lit up by LED lights. Estadio Akron. The oldest stadium in this 7, given that all stadiums in this 7 opened since 2010 of course, and the most special I would suggest, the Estadio Akron opened in June 2010. Mexico had a couple of candidates for this 7, with Monterrey's Estadio BBVA, which opened in 2015, worthy of a mention, but the Estadio Akron gets not just a place, but first place in this 7. There are plenty of Liga MX stadiums bigger than the Estadio Akron in Guadalajara, but perhaps none more visually stunning. Built at a cost of more than $200 million, work first began on the ground in 2004, but was halted for financial reasons before its eventual completion in 2010. The first game at the stadium saw Manchester United face Guadalajara in a friendly game, an agreement Manchester United signed up to as part of their 2010 signing of Guadalajara star Javier Hernandez, and rather fittingly, it was Chicharito who scored the first goal at the new ground. The stadium looks as though it was built with a mound of grass, almost combining the moat surrounding an old Moat and Bailey castle with a roof that looks as though a UFO has just landed. Inside, the stadium is more conventional, with a wide oval shape that creates a fantastic atmosphere on a match day. The stadium has a maximum capacity just shy of 50,000, although Liga MX currently state the capacity as being a little lower at 45,364. That's it for today's 7. Thanks for watching, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and obviously make sure you're subscribed to HITC Sevens. Also, if you're watching on mobile, just try tapping your screen now, apparently that is sometimes required to bring up our little subscribe button and a couple of other videos that YouTube thinks you might enjoy.